chapter 9 of Ramayana's Yudhakhanda, Speculations. Apadamahartaram dataram sarvasampadam lokabhiramam Shriramam bhuyo bhuyo namamyam. The sun had set and the moon had just risen. Rama had now arranged the army properly, and they were resting in the groves which were to be found on the shores of the sea. The earth could not bear the weight of the Vanara army, and they could feel her trembling. The Vanaras heard the music made by the bugles and the drums, and they were thrilled at the thought that they had come so near Lanka. The sounds from the city came floating to them in the air, and they listened with excitement. And they roared with sheer joy. The noise was heard by the Rakshasas who were in Lanka. Rama was lost in a reverie. He looked at the wonderful city with its flags and banners and turrets made of gold, and he thought of her, his beloved Sita, who was imprisoned in this city. He thought, Sita, whose eyes would always resemble those of a frightened deer, is now a captive of Ravana in this beautiful city. She is like Rohini eclipsed by the planet Angaraka. Rama sighed with pain, and he turned to Lakshmana and said, "Look at the city. Look at Lanka. Stationed on top of the hill, it seems to touch the very skies. It was built, I hear, by Vishwakarma for Ravana. The city with its beautiful mansions appear like the sky covered by white clouds. The fragrance of the flowers in the gardens, the music of the many instruments, the noise of the birds all make me think of the garden Chaitra, which belongs to Kubera." Rama stood gazing at Lanka for a long time. He roused himself and turned his thoughts towards the immediate task which had to be completed. He said, "Let the brave Prince Angada with Neela take his army and station himself at the heart of the great army. Let Rishabha protect the right wing. Let Gandha Madhana, the invincible, be in charge of the left wing. Lakshmana and myself will be at the head. Jambavan and Shushena should guard the van of the army. This then should be our plan of attack." The arrangements were made as per the wishes of Rama, and Rama told Sugriva, "The army has been arranged well. It is time to release Sukha." The captive Rakshasa was released, since Rama had asked him to be set free. With a grateful sigh, the unfortunate Rakshasa rushed to the presence of Ravana. The king had one look at him, and laughter took hold of him. Ravana laughed at Sukha and asked him, "Why have your two wings been tied up? They all seem to be wounded. You look distressed too. I hope you did not fall into the hands of that fickle crowd." Sukha was still trembling. He had not quite forgotten the treatment meted out to him by the Vanaras. He said, "I went to the northern side of the sea and reached the shores of the sea as you had commanded. I went to Sugriva and spoke the words which you had asked me to say. The monkeys were furious with me, and they caught hold of me. They beat me and tortured me. The Vanaras are by nature prone to be angered easily, and they are quite ruthless. They are not willing to listen to anyone. It is not possible to reason with them or to talk to them calmly. I saw Rama, who had killed Viradha, Kadamba, Kabanda, Khara, and the others. I saw him with Sugriva, the king of the Vanaras. He has found out the hiding place of Sita. The sea, which has never been crossed by anyone, was not a problem to him at all. He has had a bridge built across our sea, and the sea has been crossed by the entire Vanara host. They had landed on the southern shore. The land is covered by the monkeys. The army is advancing fast, and before it reaches the walls of our city, you should decide on the course of action to be adopted by you. Either return Sita to Rama or prepare yourself for a dreadful war to be fought. Ravana was incensed by the words of Sukha. He shouted, "Let the entire world and the other worlds too come and challenge me to fight. Let the Devas and the Asuras and all heavenly hosts come here to fight with me. I will face all of them, but I will not return Sita. I am ready to fight. I am eager to see Rama covered with my arrows like a flower-laden tree is covered with bees. I will burn him with my scorching arrows. Like the sun absorbs the light of the lesser luminaries, I will take his strength away from him. My Vela, limitless, is like the sea. My speed is like that of the winds. Rama is not aware of my greatness, and so he has dared to oppose me. He does not know that the arrows in my quiver are like poisonous serpents which will drink life. He has never seen me before. Not Indra, not Varuna, nor Yama, the god of death, nor Kubera can face me on the battlefield." Ravana was silent for a long moment. He then addressed Sukha and Sarana and said, "The army of Rama has reached our shores. It has achieved what I thought would be impossible. Rama has caused a bridge to be built across the sea. I would not have believed that such a thing was possible, and the monkeys have shown that it is possible. I want both of you to go there, enter the camp of the monkeys without being found out, and try to learn all about the arrangements of the army and the weapons used by them. Bring me the information as early as possible. It is necessary for us to know the strength of the enemy before engaging in warfare." Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramarpanamastu. Chapter 9, Part 2 of Ramayana's Yudhakhanda, Speculations. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Sukha and Sharana assumed the forms of monkeys and entered the army of Rama. It was not possible for them to gauge the beginning and end of the army. While they were engaged in the task assigned to them, Vibhishana saw them and knew at once they were Ravana's spies. He grabbed them and took them to the presence of Rama. Scared out of their wits, they fell at the feet of Rama and said, "What he says is true. We have been sent by our king to spy out your secrets. Please do not kill us." Rama was quite amused by their fear, and he smiled at them and said, "If you have completed your task, you are welcome to go back armed with your information. If there is anything which you have not studied yet, you can learn that also before going back. If you desire, Vibhishana will take you round and tell you all our secrets. Do not be afraid that you will be put to death by me. You are scared to death. You have no weapons and you are messengers who have been captured. You will not be killed. Vibhishana, release these two pathetic creatures. As for you both, go back to Lanka and repeat my message to your king. Depending on your strength, you have dared to take my Sita from me. The time has come when you should display that strength to me. Let me see you surrounded by your army and your kinsmen, and let me see if they will stand you in good stead. Tomorrow, when the sun brightens the world, you will have an opportunity to see your Lanka destroyed by my arrows. Assemble your army from now, since I will be at your doorways tomorrow, and like Indra with his Vajra fought with the Asuras, I will show how angry I can be and how unbearable my wrath can be." The Rakshasas blessed him and hurried back to Lanka. They went straight to Ravana and said, "My lord, we went there as per your command. We assumed the guises of monkeys and mixed with the Vanaras there. But Vibhishana saw through us our disguise and he took us to Rama. But that noble prince released us. 4 great warriors are arrayed there against you: Rama, Lakshmana, Sugriva, and Vibhishana. They do not even need an army to accomplish their desire. Rama is very handsome and extremely valiant. His weapons are formidable and single-handed he is able to destroy you and your city and your entire army. Their army is well nigh invincible. There is great excitement in the army and they are all waiting impatiently for the dawn when Rama plans to begin the war. We feel that this enmity with Rama is unwise. Please return to him his wife and let us all rest in peace." They repeated the message of Rama to their king. Ravana was furious with them and he went up to the terrace of his palace to see the army of Rama. Sarana and Sukha went with him. Ravana's eyes travelled over the vast expanse of land covered by the army of Rama. After looking for a while, he asked his spies about the details as to who was the leader, who was valiant, who was guarding the army, and similar questions, and they told him. Each one of the valiant monkeys was pointed out to him, and the name and the valor of each was recounted to Ravana. Sarana and Sukha said, "They are all valiant, and you should decide how to tackle this stupendous army made up of heroes." Ravana had been listening to the spies carefully, and as each Vanara was mentioned and indicated, he looked at them. Nala, Neela, Angada, Hanuman, and many others. His eyes rested on his brother who was standing by the side of Rama. Lakshmana was on the other side of Rama, and from him his eyes passed to Sugriva, Hanuman, Jambavan, Sushena, and the many powerful guards who protected the army. Gaja, Gavaksha, Gavaya, Mainda, Dvividha, and many others. For a moment there was a twinge of misgiving in the mind of Ravana, but it was soon lost even as it was formed, and he trained his angry eyes once more on his spies and he spoke harshly. Ravana said, "It is not meet that people like you, who depend on a king for your living, should speak words which are displeasing to his ears. I can make you or break you, and you dare to speak words in praise of my enemy in my presence? Your words are out of place, and do you think it is correct to talk in such glowing terms of the enemy? Host to your king against whom they are arrayed, you do not know even the rudiments of behavior. It is fortunate that I am king in spite of being surrounded by folks like you. I am the one to command you, and you insult me by saying things which displease me. Are you not afraid of death? A tree in the forest may escape the conflagration which is destroying the entire forest, but no man who wrongs his king can have hopes of living. You have been loyal to me all these days, and that to a large extent has softened my anger, or else I would have executed you. Go away from my presence before I change my mind. You should be ashamed of yourselves for your disloyalty." They saluted him with the words, "May you be victorious," and disappeared from his presence. Ravana had his ministers Mahodara with him. He asked him to get hold of 2 efficient spies. When they came, Ravana sent them to the enemy camp with injunctions similar to the ones given to the previous ones. They went to the army of Rama, and disguising themselves, they went to the top of the hill Suvela and viewed the army. They saw Rama with Sugriva, Lakshmana, and Vibhishana. The sight of the army filled them with dread, and as they were hesitating as to what they should do to carry out the wishes of their king, Vibhishana spied them out. The spies, one of whom was Shardula, were captured, and the same scenes were repeated. The Vanaras beat them up as much as they could before Rama intervened, and they returned to Ravana in a chastened frame of mind. They went back to their king. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamast. Chapter 10 of Ramayana's Yudhakhanda. Ravana tries to distress Sita. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Ravana called for his council to assemble. He spoke to all his ministers and said, "The time has come when we have to pool our wits and decide on the future course of action. Let all our men be called to duty immediately." After conferring with them, he gave orders that he should be obeyed in every way and went back to his mansion. He summoned Vidyutjiva, one of his men who was skilled in the art of Maya, and with him went to where Sita was. On the way, he told his henchmen, "Let me confuse Sita with the help of your Maya. Prepare for me a head just like that of Rama, and also a bow with its arrows." Ravana entered the Ashokavana. He saw Sita seated on the ground. Her face was as charming as the moon. She had discarded all her jewels except the one which were essential for a Sumangali. She had never been insulted before in her life, and she was looking forlorn. Her head was bent and her thoughts were with Rama. Surrounded by the Rakshasis, she spoke to no one but sat silently with tears filling her eyes often. She was like the thin silver of the moon covered by the clouds, and she was like a wilted creeper which had been uprooted by the breeze. And yet there was a depth and dignity about her, and she was like the river Ganga. Sorrow could not drown her completely, and she seemed to be above the sway of happiness and sorrow. They seemed but to touch her, but they could not go deep inside and hurt her. Sita was lost in thoughts of Rama, and Ravana walked towards her. He paused for a moment to drink in her beauty with his eyes, and then he approached her. He called her by name and said, "Sita, it is time for you to forget Rama and turn your thoughts to me. I have tried in vain to convince you about my greatness, and you have not paid any attention to my words. But now you have to. You have prided yourself on the fact that your husband is Rama the Great. You have often told me that there is no one to equal Rama in valor. Well, that Rama who killed Kara has been killed by me in the battle. You have been left all alone, and there is no one to help you now. Your pride has been humbled by me. Your vrithas have all been in vain. You must become mine now. Forget Rama who is dead. Come with me to my Antapura. Evidently, your punya is not enough, for else you would not have lost your husband. You thought that your husband was invincible, and yet I have managed to kill him. Your pride has been humbled, and your waiting for Rama has been in vain. It has become fruitless. Abandon the thoughts of Rama from now on. Come to me, and I will cherish you. You foolish women, listen to me when I recount to you how Rama was destroyed by me, even as Vrita was by Indra. Rama came to the shores of the sea with a large army of monkeys. He wanted to fight with me, and he was intent on killing me. On the northern shores of the sea, with a large army arrayed with great pomp, he planned to attack us from there. My spies have been busy, and they found the followers of Rama asleep with exhaustion after so strenuous a march to the city. Prahasta, my commander, led his army, and he easily massacred the army of Rama. Rama was sleeping and Prahasta went near him, and with a swift stroke of his sword, he was able to cut off the head of your brave husband. Vibhishana was captured, and Lakshmana with the monkeys have been made to flee from there. Sugriva is lying with his neck broken, and as for Hanuman, your old acquaintance, it is a pity that his jaw was splintered and he was killed by my men. The northern shore of the sea is drenched with the blood of the many dead monkeys. You do not seem to believe me. I anticipated it, and so I have brought the head of your beloved Rama to convince you that he is really and truly dead. Ravana summoned one of the Rakshasis and he told her, "Ask Vidyutjiva to bring the head of Rama to me. He is the one who brought me this gift from the battlefield, and let him show it to Sita also." The Rakshasa, who was waiting for the summons from Ravana, bent low before him and stood waiting for the commands of his master. The wicked Ravana said, "Delay not. Place the head of Rama before Sita. Let her have no doubts about the words spoken by me." Rama's head was placed before her. Ravana took up the magnificent bow of Rama in his hand and he said, "You must be able to recognize this bow which was Rama's. The string has not been loosened yet. Prahasta brought it and I had to bring it to you to show it to you. You have seen the proofs of the death of your master, your lord, your very life, as you are fond of saying. Now that he is dead, make haste to come with me and be my queen." Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Sita Mate. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 10, Part 2 of Ramayana's Yudhakhanda. Ravana tries to distress Sita. Part 2. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. Sita looked at the head of Rama, which seemed to be covered with blood since it had been severed at the neck. She saw the famed Kodanda also and remembered the words of Hanuman, who had told her about the friendship which has been forged between Rama and Sugriva. She looked at the lotus eyes of Rama, at the glow on his face, forehead, the locks that were framing it, and she set up a veil of awe. She spoke words filled with pain and despair. Sita said, "Kaikeyi, I hope you are happy now. Your aims have been achieved, and the light of the house of the Raghus has been extinguished forever. The entire family has been ruined because of you. How had my Rama offended you that you should have banished him to the forest, clad in tree bark and deerskin? He has ever been true to Dharma, and he was punished for no fault of his." Sita could speak no more, and she fell down in a faint. She woke up after a while, and taking the head of Rama and caressing it, she wept as though her heart would break. The Shastras say that the woman who loses her husband is lacking in punya. I have observed vritas, and I have never knowingly swerved from the path set down for a prativrata. And yet this misfortune has befallen me. Our misfortunes were numerous, and we had to bear them bravely. I thought that my imprisonment was the last mishap that should have happened to me. I was hoping that the imprisonment by this dread Rakshasa was to come to an end soon, and that you would come to my rescue. And now you have gone. How will your dear mother Kausalya Devi bear this sorrow? Our Guru had cast your horoscope, and he had said that you would be long-lived. How could his words have gone wrong? How is it you were caught unawares and done to death by a mere Rakshasa? Fate has so conspired that you should have met your end in this manner. You were an adept in the art of statecraft, and yet you have been deceived. How well I remember now, the first time I saw this bow. I have always decorated it with sandal paste and flowers, And it has been held by this sinful Ravana. You are the one with the stars, and you have been forgotten. You have forgotten us who belong to the earth. Let me join you soon. I will soon die, and poor Lakshmana will be left all alone. He will go to Ayodhya with a face wet with tears, and he will recount to those in the city the tragic deaths of you and me. I have been the cause of your death. If it had not been for me, this would never have happened, and you would have been alive and well. Sita was heartbroken, and there was no one to comfort her. Her tormentor Ravana was standing by, watching her sorrow with glee and hoping that she would agree to his unholy proposal. He stood by, angry with her, since she did not look at him even once. When they were in the Ashokavana, a messenger rushed to the presence of Ravana and stood with folded palms. He announced the arrival of Prahasta. Ravana realized that it was an urgency which had prompted Prahasta to announce his coming like this, and he left the Ashokavana in a hurry and went to the council chamber. When Ravana left the gardens, the head of Rama vanished from there, and the bow too. Sita could not understand what it was all about. Ravana went to the council hall and discussed the situation with all his men and commanded that the army should be collected immediately. It had to be announced with the help of drums by the town criers and several other methods. Urgency was the watchword, and they agreed to collect the army as early as possible. Sarama was one of the few Rakshasis who was sorry for Sita and who was owned to comfort her when she was very depressed. She heard about the deceit practiced by the king on her, and she hurried to the side of Sita. She saw her lying on the ground and bemoaning her fate. Sarama went by her side, and lifting her up, she said, "Abandon this grief, Sita. I know all about the schemes of Ravana. How could you ever believe, even for a moment, that Rama, the noblest of men, could be killed? And that by a Rakshasa who is but a servant of Ravana. None of the monkeys can be killed, and yet the king has told you that Rama was killed while sleeping. Rama is well, and so is Lakshmana and the entire army of the Vanaras. Ravana has adopted Maya tactics to deceive you and to make you agree to his evil thoughts. Be of good cheer, Sita. It will be but a short while before your sorrows will come to an end. Your star has arisen, and your tears will cease to fall. Rama is safe, and he has landed on the Rakshasa soil accompanied by the Vanara army. News has reached the king that Rama has crossed the ocean and has arrived here, and that has upset him to no end. He tried to play this trick on you, and now he has returned to the council hall to discuss about the course to be adopted by him and the army." Even as she was talking, they heard the noise of the drums being beaten, the blare of trumpets and bugles. Sarama said, "It is calling all the men to assemble. The army is being mustered up, and soon the fight is to begin. Soon, very soon, your lord will come and take you back with him. Death is imminent to the Rakshasas, and you will shed your grief like a snake sheds its skin. Pray to the sun to grant victory to your Rama, and your prayers will all be answered. You can be certain about it." Sarama came to Sita again after a while, and she said, "Ravana has been advised by his mother and by his aged minister to return you to Rama and to avert the war which is imminent. But he is adamant. He is bent on the war, which means that Yama, the god of death, is even now getting ready to receive him. He will rather die than give up you, and so the end of the king is evident. Rama will kill him, and his kinsmen and his entire army will be gone, destroyed. Be without any worry from now on. Happy days are in store for you. You will see your Lord." Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Sita Mate. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamast. Chapter 11 of Ramayana's Yudhakhanda in the council hall again. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Rama's army was approaching the city, and they could hear the noise made by the conches and drums which the Vanaras were sounding. Ravana heard it and was immersed in thought for a while. He looked at his ministers as though he sought their opinions. No one said anything, and Ravana laughed at them. He said, I have heard enough and more about the valor of Rama, and about the strength of his army made up of monkeys and bears. All of you are great warriors, and yet I see that you are all pale and frightened because of some rumor that Rama is invincible. I am amazed at this fear in all of you. I am at the same time surprised. As he said this, Malyavan, one of the veterans in the court of the king, spoke. He said, Child, when a king is righteous and learned, he will rule the kingdom for a long time. He will subdue all his enemies. He should use his discretion in deciding when to fight and when to make peace with the enemy. He should always have the welfare of his men in mind. Ravana, my child, you should never underrate the enemy. If you are sure of your superiority, then you can fight. If, on the contrary, the enemy is equal to you or is slightly better than you, it is wise to make peace with him and to avert a war. I advise you to make peace with Rama. The cause of all this hatred and ill feeling is Sita. I suggest that you give her back to Rama. The gods and all the celestials are wishing him success, and it is wiser to be friendly with him than to fight with him. Do you remember the boon granted to you by Brahma? You have been assured that you need not fear death at the hands of the gods, the Devas, Dhanavas, Gandharvas, Kinnaras, Pishachas, and all the many dwellers in the heavens. You did not mention human beings and monkeys, and the army which is preparing to fight with us is made up of monkeys, and it is led by a man, a human being. I think it does not bode any good for you or yours. The omens are all pointing to a dire calamity in store for us. Make peace with Rama and save all of us and yourself also, Ravana. I have been told that Rama is Lord Narayana himself, who has assumed the guise of a human being at the request of the gods. Consider the bridge which has been built by them across the sea. Is it the achievement of an ordinary human being? No one has thought of such a thing before. Think of the destruction at Janasthana. Single-handed Rama killed all of them. You should think of all these and pause before you plunge into warfare with him. Sita will certainly be the ruin of you. Forget her and give her back to Rama. We can all live happily ever after. Ravana paid no heed to his wise words. He spoke harshly to Malyavan and made him feel small. Ravana said, Evidently, you are one of those who praise the enemy and his valor. Your words have fallen on deaf ears. This Rama, this hero according to you, is a mere man, abandoned by his father, shorn of his wealth alone and helpless. And he has now collected a crowd of monkeys, if you please, and has dared to accost me in war. What makes you consider him to be all that brave? You must know me, and you know the fear in the minds of the Devas and the heavenly host when they think of me. How can you compare me with Rama, and how can you dare suggest that he is superior? Either you are jealous of me, or you are extremely fond of the enemies, or else you would not have spoken thus. Perhaps you have been instigated by them, or else no wise man will talk such foolish words in my presence. I have taken so much trouble to bring Sita to Lanka, And do you think I will give her back to that mendicant on your advice? She is like Lakshmi, who has left the lotus and strayed to the earth. I will never think of giving her up. Wait and see my valor. Soon you will see Rama and his army with Sugriva and Lakshmana routed by me, and you will regret your hastily spoken words. Can anyone think of Ravana adopting the wise course and making peace with a mere man, since he is considered to be more powerful than me by some fools? Are the words of a few dotards to be believed? I may break in two, but I will never bend my head to anyone. This is my nature, and no one can change one's nature. By some good fortune, the bridge has been built by him across the sea. That does not frighten me. Believe me, Rama is not going to return by way of that bridge with the army of monkeys. I promise you that. No one of them will be left alive. Malyavan realized that the king was too angry, and he spoke nothing in reply. He spoke the conventional words of blessings and went back to his home. Ravana hastened to guard the city, and he appointed strong men who would be his faithful servants. The eastern gateway was guarded by Prahasta. The south was under the guardianship of Mahaparshva and Mahodara. The western gateway was in charge of Indrajit, his favorite son. The northern section was under the aegis of Sukha and Sarana, and Ravana told his ministers that he would remain there too. Virupaksha was guarding the heart of the city and the fortress. Ravana was certain that he was now completely protected and that Rama could do nothing against his formidable army. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamast. Chapter 12 of Ramayana's Yudhakhanda, Rama with his men. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokaviramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. The army led by Sugriva had many strong and capable Vanaras, and they were all seated round Rama and Lakshmana along with Sugriva. They said, Lanka is clearly visible from here, and the guards are indeed many. The fortress is formidable, and it is up to you to think of methods by which we can attack the city. When they were conversing thus, Vibhishana, who spoke words which were full of good sense and meaning, spoke to them all. He said, Our spies, assuming the forms of birds, have gone very near the city and have noted all the precautions which have been undertaken by Ravana. I will relate to you what I have been told by my spies. Prahasta has been placed in the gateway which faces the east. Mahaparshva and also Mahodara are guarding the south. Indrajit has been assigned the task of guarding the west, while Ravana himself is stationed at the north. Virupaksha has been asked to guard the fortress in the heart of the city. Vibhishana told them about the strength of the army of Ravana. He recounted to them the valor of Ravana and about his fight with Kubera and the Devas. He concluded with the words, No doubt Ravana is powerful and an enemy to be reckoned with, but Rama, my lord, it is not a formidable task for you to accost him and to come out of it with victory, crowning your efforts. We will so arrange our army that they will tackle the defense easily. Rama spoke his words and words of command. He said, Let Nila proceed towards the east and accost Prahasta's army. Angada and his army can easily take care of the south, where there are two of the enemy's men. Let Hanuman go to the west, and as for the north, which is guarded by that wicked Rakshasa, who is arrogant because of the boons he has been blessed with, I will face him and fight with him. He is the lowest of the Rakshasas. He has been harassing rishis for ages together, and he has been tormenting the world. With Lakshmana to assist me, I will enter the northern gate, while Sugriva will remain in the middle of the army, guarding it along with Jambavan and Vibhishana. No Vanara should assume the guise of a human being during the fight. That should be the rule to be followed by all of us. Also, it will be easy to recognize who belongs to our army if the natural form of a monkey is maintained by all of you. Lakshmana, Vibhishana and his 4 friends and also myself will be the only 7 human figures on the field. After giving these detailed instructions to his men, Rama expressed a desire to go to the top of the mountain by name Suvela. He asked Lakshmana and Sugriva and Vibhishana to be with him while he ascended the hill. He said, "Let us spend the night on top of this beautiful hill. From atop the hill, let us have a look at the city of Ravana, the thief who stole my Sita from me. The very thought of that Rakshasa makes my anger rise in me, and I cannot hold it back. He knows not the path of dharma nor the code of behavior. He has insulted the name of the noble family in which he has been born. His action is so heinous that it has earned for him the censure of the good and the wise. Because of him, the entire Rakshasa clan is to be destroyed by me. One who has been caught in the noose of Yama performs an act of sin, and because of the trespass of this sole individual, the entire family is ruined." Rama's anger against Ravana was still fuming inside him while he ascended Suvela. Lakshmana followed him, bow in hand. His face was calm and unruffled. Then went Sugriva and his chief men along with Vibhishana. Several of the other Vanaras also went with them to the top of the hill. When viewed from there, the city of Lanka appeared as though it had been built in the sky. At a single glance, they could see the beauty of the city. They saw the strong fortifications and the high walls which surrounded the city. Even as they were conversing about Lanka, the sun sank in the west and moon rose in all his glory. Rama felt an exhilaration and he spent a very happy night on the Suvela peak, surrounded by his friends and his chiefs. When they woke up in the morning, the city with its lovely gardens was a riot of color, and the fragrance of the flowers wafted to them by the breeze was intoxicating. The city was like Amaravati. The garden was like Chaitra, the garden of Kubera or Indra's Nandana. The flowers which bloomed during the different seasons were blooming all together there. They could hear the music made by the koils and the water birds which frequented the lakes in the gardens. The peak of Trikuta rose high from the seashore. It seemed to pierce the sky. Flowers covered its top, and it was 100 yojanas in width. It was sheer and beautiful. The city was built on top of that hill. Its white mansions and high walls made it seem to float on air. Rama was viewing it with amazement, and his eyes rested on a palace which was more beautiful than the others. It was like the peak of Kailasa, and Rama guessed that it must be the palace of Ravana. It seemed to be an ornament to the entire city. As he was looking, Rama saw that there was someone on the terrace of the palace. A white umbrella was held over him, and Rama knew that it was Ravana who was standing there. The jewels on his chest were gleaming in the morning light, and he was dark as a rain cloud. His chest had the markings made by Airavata, and he was wearing a red silk interwoven with gold, which glistened in the sunlight. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Padamastu.